a lot of teams here in Europe have tried to just clean up their image and clean up that experience of it because it was so wildly common for these things to happen, especially in countries like Spain and Italy, where if we're talking soccer or football in certain countries, I mean the ball on the floor that you kick into the, because football is different everywhere somehow. But anyway, they try to clean up their image, and because these countries are so quote unquote passionate, this continues to happen and it's ridiculous. I think Ash, you sent me, I don't know if it was a sports game. I'm pretty sure it was, but sometime last year, I think it was in Argentina, where people pushed through barricades, where people were trying to get into the stadium to watch a game, and people got hurt, children got hurt. And I'm just like, there's nothing worth hurting other people for, especially like you said as well, a sports game that you don't get necessarily anything physical out of other than just the emotional gratification of your team having won. And you can have passion, you can have drive, you can be, if you have a lot of anger and if you find yourself in these positions where you do project in sports games or in certain, let's say you're competitive, because a lot of people love to say that I'm very competitive. That's the leeway. Follow what Ashley has said. Take time to breathe. There are things that you can do to release that anger without having to degrade another human being in your presence. And when it comes to that ad that you mentioned from Tubi, all I could think about was just the heartbreak and the amount of victims from that ad alone. And it doesn't get talked about. And that is incredibly heartbreaking.
It truly was, because people, they only express through their space and what they're aware of. And so many people were putting it down just as well as so many were advocating for the reality that this is actually happening. I'm finding a lot more these days, especially in the injury that I got, just how much people are really just seeing only within their space, and they're only validating that. They're only allowing themselves to stay within here instead of expansion. Just because it's not happening in your household or in your own life doesn't mean it's not happening in someone else's.